Hello class, this is presentation number 3, Actions and Strategies by Chris Wyndham for Environmental Management, and today's date is 3 November 2023. Here's an overview of what we're going to talk about today. We'll introduce the topic, go over a vision statement, introduce some management alternatives, and then define the success criteria that we're going to apply to those management alternatives. Then we'll review and hit our references. The topic we're covering today is overcrowding in Zion National Park. And our vision statement is to enrich the visitor experience now, instill a sense of passion for tomorrow, and preserve the national parks forever. Here are 3 management alternatives for handling overcrowding in Zion National Park. Each course of action, or COA, is presented in the order of preference. So let's talk about the pros and cons of each of these alternatives. So first, we have the timed entry permits. This permit would meter the amount of traffic at popular attractions in the park. The permit should be affordable and accessible to all visitors. And one of the negatives is the timed permits increase bureaucracy and strain park resources through the enforcement of those policies. So an example of a timed entry permit is that you would get a time to go to a popular attraction in Zion, for instance, Angel's Landing, and then you'd show up at the appropriate time to then begin your hike. This would reduce the amount of traffic at one time and reduce the amount of strain on the resources in the national park. Our second COA is trail and facility expansion. If more funds were appropriated to Zion, the trail network could be expanded, new attractions could be built and marketed to reduce pressure on existing resources, and a more robust welcome center could help funnel visitors to less crowded areas of the park. You could also provide alternatives to visitors that are tailor-made for their interest and their ability level. And then the third COA is during the peak season at Zion, you would restrict the amount of visitors that could enter the park. So by instituting a hard number of visitors that can come into the park during the peak season, you would decrease the strain on the natural resources. Ways you could offset this is offering discounts to encourage visitors to visit during the off-season, and you could also use an online reservation system to manage visitors, ensure that they can plan the trip in advance. The success criteria that would use against these COAs to define their success rate is first, does this method decrease the overall tourist density to park hotspots? So in our example of Angel's Landing, how many people are congregating to that hotspot during popular times of the day? Our second success criteria would be how many safety-related incidents occurred before and after the implementation of this alternative. So, unfortunately, Zion National Park is one of the more dangerous national parks in the U.S. For Angel's Landing in particular, there have been 14 deaths since the year 2000. Those safety-related incidents don't just occur when someone injures themselves, but you could also judge it by how many search and rescue activities have to take place in the park. Those rescue efforts drain natural resources that the park has. And then finally, does the environmental data reflect a positive trend? By collecting air, water, soil erosion, and noise pollution data points, we can judge if these management alternatives are trending in a positive direction. Here's a review of what we've gone over. And here are references for this. Thanks for your time, and I'm looking forward to your questions and comments.